Madam Speaker, I rise to speak on a grievance, and I will talk about three issues: the Manitoba Agricultural Services Corporation, children's special allowances, and Manitoba hydro layoffs. I stand today on this grievance on behalf of the farmers of Manitoba. The provincial government is looking to cut staff positions and salary costs at the Manitoba Agricultural Services Corporation, also known as MASC. The government should not do this, and there are multiple reasons why the government should not do this. First, there is an urgent need for the Manitoba Agricultural Services Corporation at this time. Last year was a very tough year for farmers. I understand there is a backlog of more than 500 outstanding post-harvest claims that need urgent attention. There is urgency in resolving these claims, as many farmers are out seeding now. It can't wait. Add to this, there are additional claims from this year where farmers were not able to harvest last fall and have harvested the remainder of their crop this spring. A considerable proportion of those crops will need to be assessed, and farmers in spring can't tolerate wait times. They need to get their crop in. If MASC is not working well and quickly when farmers need their help, it is a big problem. We do not need and do not want the Manitoba Agricultural Services Corporation to be e-MASC-ulated. Add to this, today's farmers are seeding, and very soon the crops will be growing. We hope there are not major problems with hail this year, but if there are, MASC will be needed. And there can be a big demand on MASC services if it is a bad hail year. This is not the time for cutbacks on MASC services. Second, MASC has an outstanding record of performance and achievement and service to farmers. I have talked to many farmers, and it is rare to find a farmer who is not thankful for what used to be crop insurance and is now a MASC agri-insurance program. Indeed, I've been told by one longtime farmer that the MASC programs are the most important programs for farmers. In a tribute to MASC, one farmer told me, talking to me on his cell phone as he was seeding this morning, that he has not met even one farmer who has hesitated to put in a crop this year, even with all the uncertainty about the COVID-19 situation. Farmers are not hesitating because they know MASC is there for them. That is one of the biggest tributes I can say in support of MASC. MASC has essentially been the insurer, the securer of our homegrown food supply, and the food supply from Manitoba, which is exported around the world, and which is so important to people all over the world. I say to the Premier, do not let Manitoba farmers down by cutting back on MASC. It is working well. Farmers tell me they do not see any frills in MASC. MASC is already a lean operation. In my experience, if you have a program with a really good track record and which is running well, don't mess with it and cause problems which we don't need. Programs like MASC are an example of how a helpful government program can be run to help farmers. Third, MASC is a lean program and is constantly improving its programs and services and using more digital delivery of services. It does not make sense to arbitrarily cut a lean and efficiently run service. A number of years ago, there was a technology switch at MASC so that adjusters were working with laptop computers, and MASC did not cut back on the number of, it did cut back then on the number of employees who were keying in data because they weren't needed as much anymore. There was a business case then for cutbacks, and they were made. There is no business case now for cutbacks to MASC. Fourth, MASC is currently in the middle of a technology transformation. It is a massive job. The government should not be cutting back staff at MASC in the middle of this transformation. It involves a lot of extra training, it involves major adjustments to the work, and this is not a time to be cutting people when the people are badly needed by and for the organization and for farmers. Fifth, most MASC programs are run with a combination of federal and provincial dollars. It is important that Manitoba is able to deliver programs like agri-stability and agri-insurance well on behalf of both governments. I say to the Premier, Please do not put us in a position where farmers have trouble accessing federal as well as provincial programs. Sixth, we are in the middle of a pandemic. Now is not the time to be cutting staff and destabilizing people's lives. Indeed, mask is needed at full strength right now, not just to deal with the backlog, not just to deal with the technology transformation, but specifically because there is added need for flexibility in the response to the pandemic. People at Mask have adjusted with more people working from home, although adjusting and lending staff are still going out to meet farmers while following full physical distancing guidelines. The Cabinet may want to run a new program through Mask to help farmers manage the difficult situation, for example, with falling beef prices. Flexibility and rapidity of response are critical during the COVID-19 pandemic. You do not want to cut the very people who are so critical in helping with the pandemic response. I say to the Premier, do not cut the people who are so essential to farmers producing our food supply during this COVID-19 pandemic. Madam Speaker, I talked to one farmer who had this to say. He said he had heard that the Premier was calling for Mask to make cutbacks. He said, I would be hard-pressed to see where the Premier's coming from. He added, I'm not sure what message the Premier and his government are sending by making cutbacks to Mask, but I, as a farmer, don't like the message. Madam Speaker, I speak today on this critical matter, the future of Mask and the critical need for Mask, the Manitoba Agricultural Service Corporation, to be fully staffed and fully operational at this most critical of years for all of us. I ask the Premier, Madam Speaker, does he really want to be known from now on by farmers and by Manitobans as the chief e-maskulator?